The Young and the Restless spoilers. The Burden of Truth and the Road to Redemption, Martin's confession. In a dramatic turn of events, Martin has made a bold move, one that has shaken the very foundation of his relationship with Traci. In a moment of raw honesty and desperation, Martin has reached out to Traci to confess the painful truths he has been hiding for so long. What follows is not just a confession of betrayal, but an unraveling of deep emotions, hidden motivations, and a complicated journey of love and redemption. A dangerous secret, Martin's admission. Martin, a man consumed by guilt and anger, cannot carry his burden any longer. The weight of his past decisions has become too heavy to bear, and he has come to the inevitable realization that he must come clean. His confession is a mix of anger, shame, and vulnerability, emotions that have built up over time as he grappled with his actions. The secret that Martin has kept for so long is nothing short of shocking. He is the one who kidnapped Phyllis and Sharon. At first glance, it would seem like an unimaginable act, but Martin's motivations are not rooted in malice or a desire to inflict harm. His true objective was not to endanger their lives, but rather to force a situation where these two women would have no choice but to come together. Martin's aim, in his own twisted way, was to unite Phyllis and Sharon, two women who had been at odds for so long, hoping that in their shared captivity, they would find common ground. This revelation is met with a mixture of disbelief and horror by Traci, as she struggles to comprehend the complexity of Martin's reasoning. The confession that breaks Traci's heart. Martin's words are laced with both regret and the hope for redemption. He admits that his actions were wrong, but he also lays bare the deep, aching truth that has plagued him for so long, his love for Traci. This love is genuine, and it has driven him to pursue a future with her, even if it means confronting the very mistakes that have brought them to this point. When Martin confesses his love for Traci and his desire to marry her, the confession strikes Traci to her core. She is overwhelmed with emotion, torn between the man she once loved and the shocking betrayal that now stains their past. Tears flow as she listens to Martin's words, unsure of how to reconcile her lingering feelings of affection for him with the overwhelming sense of betrayal she now feels. Traci, deep down, has always harbored a love for Martin. Despite the years of distance between them, there is a part of her that still yearns for the kind of love she once had with him, a love that was once pure and promising. However, the reality of Martin's actions leaves her heartbroken and conflicted. She longs for the kind of relationship that is built on trust and honesty. But how can she trust a man who has lied to her and put her in harm's way? The pain of being deceived is unbearable, and Traci fears that she might never fully heal from the wounds Martin has inflicted. The twisted reality of Martin's new beliefs. As the conversation unfolds, Traci begins to notice something odd. Martin's explanation of his actions seems increasingly inconsistent with the man she once knew. Traci recalls that the old Martin, whom she once trusted, was someone who adhered to traditional therapeutic methods, someone who believed in the value of stability and order. This version of Martin, however, seems almost like a stranger, one who has embraced unorthodox methods, gone down a darker path, and, ultimately, has become someone entirely different. This new version of Martin, someone capable of kidnapping and manipulation, seems at odds with the man Traci once knew. Traci's mind races, and she begins to suspect that there is more to the story than Martin is letting on. Could there be a deeper reason why Martin has deviated so drastically from his former self? What has caused him to abandon his once strong convictions and embrace a set of methods that seem so foreign to his previous nature? The unmasking of Alan. As Traci continues to question Martin, a revelation begins to emerge that changes everything. She starts to piece together the fragments of the confession and notices subtle inconsistencies in his story. There is something about his demeanor, his mannerisms, and his choice of words that does not align with the man she once knew. Slowly, it dawns on her, Martin is not entirely who he says he is. Could it be that the man sitting before her is not even Martin at all? Traci, ever sharp and perceptive, begins to piece together the puzzle. The answers are hidden in the details, the subtle changes in Martin's behavior, the strange new beliefs he has adopted, and the way he speaks about his actions. Traci gently suggests that perhaps Alan, the man she has been speaking to, is not Martin at all. Could it be that this is a completely different person, someone who has taken over Martin's identity and is now manipulating Traci, just as he manipulated Phyllis and Sharon? Traci's suspicions grow stronger as she continues to press the man before her. She suggests that Alan must have some ulterior motive. Some deeper reason for assuming Martin's identity and continuing his actions. Is he someone with a hidden agenda, using Martin's name to cover his tracks? This theory begins to unravel. And Traci realizes that the confession she's hearing might not be a confession at all, but a carefully crafted lie designed to deceive her. The possible path forward, redemption or ruin. With this shocking revelation, Traci is now faced with an impossible decision. If the man before her is indeed an impostor, then her entire world has been turned upside down. Everything she thought she knew about Martin, and about herself, has been called into question. She must now confront the truth, no matter how painful it may be. Traci's heartbreak is compounded by the overwhelming realization that she may have been living a lie all along. Her desire for love, for security, for a future with Martin, has clouded her judgment and made her vulnerable to manipulation. But now that the truth is starting to come to light, Traci faces a crossroads. Will she continue to hold on to the love she once shared with Martin, or will she allow herself to move on and find healing, no matter how difficult that may be? A deeper mystery, what lies beneath? As Traci digs deeper into the mystery of Martin's transformation, it becomes clear that there are still many unanswered questions. If Martin's kidnapping of Phyllis and Sharon was part of some twisted plan, what was his true goal? Was it truly just about getting them to unite, or is there something more sinister at play? Could this plot be the beginning of a much larger conspiracy, one that involves not just Martin but other key players in the unfolding drama? The stakes are higher than ever before as Traci realizes that the man she once loved, and perhaps still loves, is not the person she thought he was. The revelation that Martin is not who he seems to be opens up a web of possibilities and new mysteries to explore. Is this the beginning of a larger game being played by powerful forces? Or is it simply the tragic end of a relationship that was never meant to be? Conclusion: a love torn apart by lies. As Traci processes the enormity of the truth before her, she finds herself torn between her lingering feelings for Martin and the reality of the man he has become, or rather, the man he may have never been. The road ahead is uncertain. But one thing is clear: the love they once shared may never be the same again. Whether this revelation will lead to redemption or further heartbreak remains to be seen. In the world of the young and the restless, where trust is a fragile commodity and deception lurks around every corner, the unmasking of Martin's secret could be just the beginning of an even greater upheaval. Traci's journey forward will not only involve unraveling the truth about Martin but also reclaiming her sense of self and her capacity for love and trust, two things that may be forever altered by the lies that have come to light. This expanded narrative builds on the plot elements you provided, diving deep into the characters' emotions, motivations, and the suspenseful twists that lie ahead. The story explores themes of love, betrayal, and self-discovery, capturing the emotional complexity of the situation while propelling the plot toward a larger mystery. A web of deception and betrayal, Martin's hidden agenda and Traci's trap. As the emotional tides of the young and the restless continue to shift, Martin's previously quiet confessions take a dark turn. What begins as a moment of honesty and vulnerability soon escalates into a tangled web of manipulation, unexpected twists, and the dangerous fallout from secrets long buried. The delicate balance between truth and deception is about to be tested, and no one is safe from the consequences of their actions. Martin's unraveling and Traci's wary distance. At first, Martin seems eager to unburden himself, pouring out his deepest secrets to Traci in a rare moment of unfiltered honesty. It appears to be a breakthrough, a moment of clarity in which Martin is seeking redemption for his past mistakes, specifically the kidnappings of Phyllis and Sharon. Traci, though shaken, listens intently, but it's clear that something isn't right. The more Martin speaks, the more Traci starts to feel the intensity of the situation, and not just in terms of the confession, but also in terms of the emotions that Martin's words are stirring within him. His vulnerability, though seemingly genuine, soon becomes clouded by his growing desperation. What begins as an apology for past wrongs quickly shifts into something more physical as Martin grows bolder. The temptation to seek comfort in Traci becomes overwhelming for Martin, and it's easy to imagine him crossing boundaries in his emotional turmoil. The guilt and shame he feels could manifest in an intense, impulsive reaction, and he might try to kiss Traci or push her into a more intimate moment. However, Traci, not willing to succumb to the temptation of her lingering feelings for him, instinctively recoils. Her rejection doesn't just come from a place of personal boundaries, it is a defensive mechanism. Traci knows the depth of Martin's betrayal and has no intention of letting her guard down again, no matter how persuasive his emotions may seem. The trap is set, Martin's realization. As Traci withdraws, a sense of realization starts to dawn on Martin. He has been confronted with the truth of his actions, his confessions have been laid bare. But as the tension in the room builds, Martin begins to suspect that something is amiss. His sharp mind begins to work through the events of the conversation, piecing together the subtle clues that Traci has been strategically planting throughout their exchange. She has, in fact, been probing him for information, fishing for answers, testing his resolve, and Martin begins to suspect that the confessions he believed were freely given were, in fact, carefully coaxed out of him. At this moment, Martin faces a choice. He can either continue to play along with Traci's manipulation or confront her about the trap she's set. The uneasy tension between them escalates as Martin, feeling betrayed in return, recognizes that Traci has used his vulnerability against him. But this moment of reckoning is not one-sided. As Martin contemplates Traci's actions, he is also planning his own move. In the midst of this emotional confrontation, he decides to give Traci a surprise, a secret from Paris that he has been keeping for just this kind of situation. While Traci thought she had control of the situation, Martin is about to flip the script entirely. Martin's surprising move, the Paris connection. Martin has hinted at a connection to Paris, a place where he has been carrying out some clandestine activities. In a phone call to Jack Abbott, Martin vaguely referenced his ongoing business in Paris, mentioning that he had things to complete before returning to Genoa City. This cryptic statement was intended to throw Jack off his trail, but now it becomes clear that the things Martin has been working on in Paris are far more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. It turns out that Martin's involvement in Paris is not just about cleaning up his past mistakes, it is about executing a new, highly dangerous plan, one that involves Ashley Abbott. In a shocking twist, Martin has kidnapped Ashley, holding her captive somewhere in Paris, with the intention of using her as leverage. Ashley, currently in Paris, is the perfect pawn in Martin's grander scheme. For Martin, this move is both a test and a warning. If Traci thought she could manipulate him, she is about to learn the true depth of his manipulation skills. Martin is playing a long game, one that stretches far beyond the emotional tug-of-war he is engaged in with Traci. The shocking revelation, Ashley Abbott as the new hostage. The fact that Ashley is in Paris is no coincidence. Martin has known this for some time, and he has carefully orchestrated his plan to kidnap her. Why Ashley? What does she represent to him? The answer lies in her status within the Abbott family and her influential position in Genoa City. By holding Ashley captive, Martin is not just getting revenge on those who have wronged him, he is sending a message to anyone who dares to challenge him. He is playing a dangerous game with the Abbott family, testing their loyalty and ability to respond to threats. For Traci, this revelation lands like a bombshell. She begins to connect the dots between Martin's strange behavior, his increasing boldness, and the mysterious phone call with Jack. The pieces of the puzzle start to fall into place. And she realizes that she has been a pawn in a much larger scheme, one that goes far beyond the personal betrayal she initially believed it to be. Traci is now faced with a moral dilemma. She must decide whether to help Martin further in his plans, or if she will finally take a stand against him. But the situation is far more complicated than she could have imagined. The web of deception and manipulation has grown too complex, and the stakes have risen higher than ever before. Ashley's life is in immediate danger. And Traci must navigate her feelings for Martin while determining whether to align with him or expose his dark deeds. Jack Abbott's role in the crisis. Meanwhile, Jack Abbott is not entirely in the dark. Although he initially thought Martin's return would be a smooth transition, he soon begins to piece together the shocking reality of Martin's activities. Jack's instincts tell him that there is more to Martin's presence in Genoa City than meets the eye. However, Jack's hands are tied. He cannot move against Martin without exposing his own secrets and risks drawing unwanted attention to his own dealings. Jack's role in this unfolding drama is pivotal. He may try to warn others in the Abbott family, but he is limited in how far he can go without endangering his own reputation and relationships. The Abbott family, already reeling from recent crises, is now facing yet another betrayal at the hands of someone they thought was an ally. The escalating danger. The danger now escalates on multiple fronts. Martin's kidnapping of Ashley Abbott is a direct threat to the stability of the Abbott family and their influence in Genoa City. The Abbott family must now decide how to respond. Will they comply with Martin's demands or fight back against the dark forces that have infiltrated their lives? The choices they make will determine not just Ashley's fate but the future of their legacy as well. Traci's role in this crisis is critical. With her knowledge of Martin's past and her deep emotional connection to him, she may hold the key to unlocking his motivations and finding a way to stop him before it's too late. However, the road to stopping Martin is fraught with peril. If Traci miscalculates or allows her emotions to cloud her judgment, the consequences could be disastrous. Conclusion. A family torn apart. As the threads of this intricate plot weave together, The Young and the Restless once again reminds us that in the world of power, love, and betrayal, no one is ever truly safe. Martin's carefully calculated plan is not just about revenge, it is about power, manipulation, and control. His kidnapping of Ashley Abbott is a brutal reminder of just how far he is willing to go to achieve his goals. For Traci, the path ahead is unclear. She is caught between her lingering feelings for Martin and the growing realization that she may have been a pawn in a far more dangerous game. The Abbott family, meanwhile, is facing a crisis that could tear them apart, one that could alter the course of their legacy forever. In the end, the choices made by Traci, Jack, and the rest of the Abbott family will determine not only Ashley's fate but the future of Genoa City itself. The stakes have never been higher, and the road to redemption and justice is fraught with danger. The question remains, will the truth come out in time to save Ashley and expose Martin for the monster he truly is? Or will the web of lies and manipulation continue to tighten, leaving everyone in its destructive grip? Only time will tell. This expanded narrative builds upon the plot points you've provided, creating a complex story of love, betrayal, and manipulation while highlighting the emotional and strategic stakes for the characters involved.